Welcome back to Movies TV Man. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Man, and welcome to Saturday's edition of the MUFC Daily. It is match day, a 3 p.m. kickoff for you in the UK, and for us here in Cyprus, a 5 p.m. kickoff. I'm not looking forward to this game, whatever the result, whatever happens. I mean, if we lose, we can hopefully push for this manager to go. If we win this game, it's going to be that weird situation where I'm happy our club and players have won, but it also means it cements this manager's future for a few more months, a few more games. So every time he wins, I do get depressed. I don't necessarily want us to lose, but I understand what winning the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer way means. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a serial liar. He lied his fucking mouth off again yesterday in yesterday's presser for the Watford United game. He spoke about Jesse Lingard and his contract negotiations, playing dumb, that he didn't know anything that goes on about that department of the club. And he then said that Jesse's upset, but Jesse would play more games. It's the same bullshit he says about every single superior player, superior to the actual players he chooses. He talks about them and says it every week. In fact, he talks the players up so much that he doesn't play, it makes you think he's actually going to play them and he's telling the truth. Then you find out that VDB and Jesse are not playing. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Jesse Lingard as a player. I think he's a bit of a weird player. Sometimes he has a bit of a good run, then he doesn't play well. And I think when he's motivated, like he was motivated at West Ham, he did well. But he's an inconsistent player, and he certainly should have done a lot more in his career thus far than he already has. And he's no child anymore. But he comes from our youth system. He comes from our club, right? And the way Solskjaer has treated him is disgusting. And isn't it interesting, after everything that he said, we heard reports that contract negotiations with Jesse Lingard have broken down, and he will be leaving this club in January. Unlike some Manchester United fans, I do not believe a loan move will be happening. I believe he wants to get away from us as soon as possible, or away from Solskjaer. A loan move means that Solskjaer can yank him back. Solskjaer is a toxic manager in terms of not playing people, destroying their careers, forcing them to go out on loan, and then forcing them to stay at the club, even though he doesn't want to play them. He has a first team, and no one can get through that first team, even though the players he's choosing, like Maguire. And it's interesting with Maguire, he was asked directly if he'll strip Maguire of the captaincy and drop him. He said absolutely no, and he said that Maguire would prove everyone wrong. So we're fucked. We're fucked with this guy, because if anyone rates Maguire as a captain or as a Tony Adams kind of central defender, and this is the problem. Solskjaer thinks that Maguire is comparable to Bruce, to Pallister, to Keane, who of course wasn't a central defender. By the way, Keane could play central defence, and he did it a few times and did it very well. But he's not a captain in any sense of the word. And what we're finding out now, and we didn't realise at Leicester, he's an okay central defender, but he's not one of the greats. And Manchester United should have one of the best central defenders, especially if he's your captain in the league. But this guy rates him. He thinks he's got Paolo fucking Maldini, and I know that Maldini was a fullback, wasn't he? Can't remember, but anyway, you haven't got Maldini. You've got a very average English player here, Ollie, and you're insisting in keeping him as a captain. He's not a captain. He's the invisible man. The only time you fucking see him is when he scores a goal. During the games, when they're going badly, Maguire is invisible. And I don't want to hear anything today. When we beat Watford, which we probably will do 3-0, I don't want to hear this bullshit. Maguire kept a clean sheet. Maguire, you're all wrong about Maguire and Ollie. I don't want to hear this bullshit. It's Watford, for fuck's sake. So imagine what it would mean if Watford were to defeat us. It would be fucking embarrassing. Now, I love the Tinkerman, Claudio Ranieri. I think he's a great manager, a great man. As I said yesterday, he's a nut job, but I love him. He's the kind of personality I would love at Manchester United. He's not really a Manchester United manager, but he would make you smile, a bit like LVG. LVG was like a supervillain, wasn't he? But he always made me smile. He even had a sense of humour with his craziness. I miss LVG because he did a lot of things good for the club. Now, you may not know this, but he did. he really sorted out that youth system, because since Sir Alex had left, it wasn't really being developed properly. And he really sorted some things out. Now, a lot of people, it makes me laugh when people say, oh, you can't credit LVG for Rashford. It's only because this striker or that striker was injured. That's how young players come through. So you do credit him for having him on the bench in the first place. If he's not on the bench, if he's not the next in line to play, it doesn't happen. So absolute credit to LVG for the development of Rashford. And shall I tell you who loves LVG? Yes, Marcus Rashford. In fact, you ask any Manchester United player who played under LVG within reason, I'm sure there's a couple who had a few grudges against him, but surprisingly, they love him. You ask, you know, the players, especially Jesse Lingard the other day, talking about Mourinho. Mourinho used to ring him up, asking him if he was okay. Clearly, Jose knew maybe this was a player who needed help now and again to get his confidence up. So even though Jose seemed very toxic, clearly didn't get on with Pogba, but it's good to see that a lot of these players actually respected Mourinho and LVG. And even though I do believe they were rightfully sacked, they weren't doing the job they were brought in for, you know, we're in a much worse position here. Because we didn't go for another elite manager. It was like, well, we've gone for elite managers, now we're going to go for DNA. It doesn't work. Because I said a few last week, I think, the boot room can work if you get the right former player in and the right former players to coach with that former player. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is absolutely the wrong person. I can imagine someone like Paul Scholes being a lot better at the job. But anyway, it is dodgy. It is dodgy when you deal with ex-players, because now we've got the situation we have at Manchester United where a lot of fans are defending this accidental manager. And I don't understand how anyone can still, you know, defend this person. But he's actually coming across really toxic, because yesterday's, as I said earlier, yesterday's presser proves he's a serial liar. He lied about Jesse. And to prove that this point, Jesse actually posted a picture of himself scoring a goal for West Ham. What does that tell you? Just afterwards, we heard that talks had broken down. People are saying it's because West Ham posted the goal. I don't believe that. Partially, yes. But why would you do that? A game before Manchester United play and just after a presser, why would you post a picture of yourself dressed in a West Ham, you know, what is it? Outfit, for Christ's sake? You know, the top and the shorts that he was wearing for West Ham. Losing my fucking thoughts and words there. It's Ollie. He's driving me crazy. So it was done for a reason. And then we hear the talks have broken down. And it's just after this presser. It tells you something, doesn't it? He's going like this to Ollie, right? Because he's saying that Ollie's a serial liar. Because Ori, should we call him Ori? No, let's just call him Ollie. But yeah, Ollie tells these players they're going to play, don't worry. Instead of being honest, any manager worth their salt says, look, son, I don't think you're at the level of the other players. Of course he can't do that because he's playing with McTominay and Fred. So clearly anyone on that bench is superior to those players. And to Maguire, he's dropping far superior players for less superior players. Because Jesse Lingard is a naturally offensive player. And he doesn't like offensive players, attacking players. He wants players who can defend because he's a defensive counter-attacking manager. He was citing his away form as Manchester United manager. Yeah, I bet you fucking was. You're confident, aren't you, Ollie, with your counter-attacking, defensive, negative football? It'll be easier for you today to get a result with the tactics you use. You know, but some people are blindsided by this script he reads out. And it is scripted. Maybe the questions are scripted as well. I don't know. But he's refusing to drop Maguire. He's refusing to drop these players who are not doing the job. Today's results is interesting because a win for me doesn't change anything and doesn't change anything for a lot of people. A defeat just shows us where we are. A win doesn't change the fact that this is just a defensive counter-attacking manager getting a solid win away from home because his tactics against lesser opposition lean towards that kind of thing. So it doesn't prove anyone wrong. It doesn't say anything. We, as a club, are in big trouble. This is the kind of manager that relegates a big club. I mentioned that yesterday as well. and I can see that happening. But I fancy us to win today. I hope we do win, but it will also disappoint me. And I know it's a horrible thing to say, but this manager isn't the future. And the only way to get rid of him is if he keeps on losing. And if he wins today, it means we're stuck with him for just a little while longer. Now, ultimately, at the end of the season, if he doesn't win anything, he'll be gone anyway. But this is going to be a long and dark, winding road. This has been the MUFC Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below, please. Please hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection. And I'll see you again tomorrow. And we'll be discussing the aftermath of Watford versus Manchester United. What does the future hold for our club and this accidental manager? We'll find out later on today, and we'll discuss it tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.